Well, 2020 was the year that we saw a growth in understanding in Bitcoin, adoption in blockchain, and also a booming DeFi space. So what is in store for 2021? Well, when looking to identify my guests that would help me divert on what is going to happen for this year, I had to go back to actually my first ever guest that I conducted a Bitcoin interview with all the way back in 2015. And Anton Golub, founder and CEO of Flovtec, is joining me now. And Anton, the industry has changed quite a bit. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
First, thank you for inviting me, Jessica, and it's a pleasure to be here. And it's a pleasure to be with you in this industry for such a long time period. And really glad that we are talking to again. And I thank you for your friendship for this last 5 years, actually now, 6 years.
5, yes, exactly. It's been quite a long time. And if we focus on what we've seen as of recently in the past few weeks, we've witnessed new all-time highs for both Ethereum and Bitcoin, remarkable moves. And I'd love to just get your insights on what you're expecting to be some of the biggest cryptocurrency kind of highlights from this year. What else can we expect?
Yeah, so first, let me now comment a bit on what happened in the last couple of weeks and a month or so. What I can say from my perspective and looking at things a bit behind the scenes is that the price went way ahead than where the industry is. So kind of the infrastructure and the technology and the players that actually would support that price movement are actually a bit further ahead. So I think we kind of went a bit very high up. It's great for our industry, but I think we need to catch up in terms of the technology, but it's all very, very positive. Now, reflecting, where we will go in 2021, I think there will be two major points in 2021 that will really be groundbreaking for our industry. First will be actually the upcoming announced IPO of Coinbase. I think that will really demonstration that our industry can actually add value towards mass adoption of cryptocurrencies and digital assets, but will also be a stick in the ground for what kind of upside or returns investors can get if they get involved with the digital asset industry. So I think that will be the key point, and that will open the doors for a lot more companies that will go public or that will actually be taken over or that will get a bigger exposure within the wider financial industry. The second aspect I do have to say is I think the regulation will even be more stricter this year. It kind of touched upon a little bit with regards to the matters that revolved around one of the largest cryptocurrencies, Ripple in this particular context. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think overall it's going to be very, very positive for our industry. But of course, how that will play out, it's unclear at the moment. But this will be kind of my two key points is the successful crypto companies going public and also more clarity on the regulatory side in 2021.
Fantastic. So it sounds like it's going to be a very busy year for both kind of the more financial investors there, and also the regulators have got quite a lot on their plate as well. And one other thing, you mentioned the price there just kind of booming as of January. And if we're talking about price booms, we also have to acknowledge the DeFi space last year ended the year worth around 14.5 billion US dollars. So it was remarkable growth throughout the year. When we look at the speculation of things moving forward, are you wondering if they're worth buying in 2021, or would they consider being overvalued as well? Or is this industry actually just getting started?
Yes. So I think that this industry is just getting started. When we look at actually the community, the volume, the participation in the DeFi industry compared to the whole digital asset industry, or even compared to the global financial industry, it's actually microscopic. Yeah. And if I have to say it from my personal perspective, the really big innovation of our industry is actually decentralization. So over a long time period, we're going to end up exactly where the DeFi space is going. Now, I think, in my opinion, that there was a lot of success stories in the last year that actually was triggered by the yield farming boom and actually the tools and the resources around the yield farming boom that would enable that. But if I have to take one step ahead, I would say actually that the gems, the diamonds in the rough of the DeFi industry are going to come from layer 2 solutions. So a lot of the DeFi industry so far were actually tools and resources on Ethereum blockchain actually. But I think the next step will actually be improvements of those tools and resources, exchanges and so on, that will use the Ethereum blockchain for certain aspects, but will be actually layer 2, where it comes to speed, performance, and actually efficiency of technologies. So I can, for instance, say a personal project that I like very much, not that it's any recommendation, is, for instance, Vega protocol that actually wants to launch an exchange on Ethereum where people can trade extremely fast, but actually that the underlying infrastructure will be used on Ethereum as a gateway to actually deploy the tokens and use it for some other aspects. So this is kind of my thoughts and predictions, even though it's very hard to make predictions about the future. Those are about the DeFi space.
And you're right in saying that the DeFi space is one that has a lot of interesting products as well. So thank you for referencing some for our viewers to take a look at. We're even seeing like Uniswap, for example. I read recently that it's averaging around $1 billion in daily traded volume, which is around 2% of the New York Stock Exchange. So when we just look at these numbers, just to get a grasp, and as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, since 2015, you have been watching this space. What does this tell us about the actual adoption of traded volume and awareness of cryptocurrencies and also DeFi projects?
Yes, I think in that context, we are so early with the DeFi space, and also in light of the thoughts that I shared, that I think we will end up there actually. All solutions will be DeFi or decentralized in a long time period. We are just at the early days. So this is great to get involved because you can benefit a lot if you get involved in the early days, but also being a pioneer is very challenging and very actually difficult. There are going to be a lot of aspects and issues with DeFi solutions going forward. We really have to reflect how do we create scalable solutions, but then this is an industry question because for DeFi to be scalable, first the Ethereum, for instance, has to be very much scalable. And that's why what makes me very exciting, because with all these great innovations that we're seeing now, I have to remind myself, actually, we're just starting. So I couldn't be more bullish on the whole industry and on the DeFi industry, sub-industry as well.
Fantastic. Do you think actually there's any concerns though when it comes to Ethereum and a potential scalability issue that there might run into if we do continue to see this strong growth that I think a lot of people, developers included, weren't expecting to see so quickly?
Yes. So I now have to go back in time and remember my days at the end of 2017 and recall I used to run a decentralized exchange and seeing firsthand the challenges of scalability. Now, to be very provocative, those challenges have not been addressed in this time period. And we're all waiting for Ethereum 2.0 or other solutions that can enable decentralized solutions. So I think the test will come, and the test will come very soon. And it will be as our industry grows rapidly. And then there will be winners and losers, like in all situations. But one thing that makes me very bullish and very optimistic about a lot of these projects is the community they have built around themselves. Because my personal opinion is that in the end, projects with strong communities will win because the communities will solve the problems that these projects have. So super bullish, even though I mentioned a lot of downsides as well.
Fantastic. Now you've given us a great overview. And just finally, just to summarize as well, because I think some kind of mainstream media articles possibly were comparing the DeFi space to the ICO space that we'll remember from 2017. So if any viewers are watching that might be new to the industry and looking to dip their feet in, Anton, are you able to maybe identify some key points just to make sure that they are as safe and protected as online when they are entering this industry as possible?
Yes. So first, I think they should definitely first follow and connect smart people who have been long in the industry like you, because you are the messenger that sets the values and sets the standards for our industry. So I think first, what I can advise them definitely is to be first very bullish on the industry, but at the same time very cautious when it comes to investments or engagement or involvement. Yeah. But I think that we really need spokespersons like you who would actually try to educate about the risks of our industry and about the risks about getting involvement in especially, for instance, in projects where there's a lot of freedom, how they operate. But I again want to say and reflect on the .com bubble, where we had a similar story, similar situation. And due to the .com bubble, you and I can have an interview, fully digitally, and it all works and it rates. But of course, along the ways, we had not such great stories as well, where it was not a success. But that's what I would recommend, is actually to follow you and listen to your wise words and the wise words of your colleagues.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That's very sweet. So do your research and kind of make sure to cross-reference everything you hear. Anton, thank you so much. It was great to catch up as always. Thank you so much for your time today, and excited to see how the industry grows in 2021. Thank you.
Likewise, thanks a lot, Jessica, and great for your friendship and for this long time period, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, that's all for myself and Anton. We'd love to hear how you found this segment. So drop a comment in the comment box below if you've got any specific projects you're looking out for. We want to hear from you, and give the video a big like and subscribe to AIBC Summit for more similar content.